What's going on, people? Welcome back to Tentwa Talks Football. In this video, we're going to be discussing the news that is recently broken from Fabrizio Romano. And the news that's being reported is that AS Roma have made a £20 million deal, or rather a £20 million bid for Jadon Sancho. Now, anybody who is a Man United fan knows by now that the Jadon Sancho experiment has not worked. We signed him from Dortmund as a wonder kid, someone who we had high hopes for, someone who we hoped would one day even inherit the number 7 shirt. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out. He just can't seem to do it in England. I don't know why. Maybe the league's too fast for him. Maybe, I don't know. For so many reasons, Jadon Sancho's move from Dortmund to United has been an absolute failure. And it's time to move on now. Honestly, it's time to move on. And everybody knows Sancho was at Chelsea last season on loan with an obligation to buy, which somehow they managed to maneuver out of because some idiot at United was able, or rather put in a clause which said that if Chelsea were to pay the £5 million fee to Man United, they could basically back out of the obligation to sign Sancho. But the funny thing is, Chelsea actually wanted to sign Sancho on a permanent deal, even though for quite some time it was seeming as though Chelsea would send him back. But towards the end of the season, he actually played well for them. He even scored in the, what's this cup called? The Conference League final. Scored a good goal for them and he played well throughout the game. However, Sancho himself could not agree personal terms with Chelsea. The thing is that Man United is reported to be on big wages. I think he's on about somewhere between 250 and 300k a week. You never know. One day you hear this, then the next day you hear the other. So I'm just going to speculate and say that his current salary at Man United is somewhere between 250 and 300k a week. Now, Chelsea apparently were willing to offer him somewhere in the region of about 120, 130 a week. And obviously, for obvious reasons, the player said, no, I'm not gonna take half my wages, which it's frustrating for us Man United fans because we want him sold so we can get those big wages off our books. But I understand Sancho. We gave him the contract, so we have to honor it. Now, the reason why I'm talking about his wages is because if he actually turned down and moved to go to Chelsea, his boyhood club, because let's not get it twisted, Sancho has admitted it that he grew up supporting Chelsea, even though he came through the Man City Academy and everything. He's a London boy. He's Chelsea's his local club, and that's the club he supports. So for him to turn down a good contract at Chelsea should tell you that he feels he's not willing to forego his current wages, his current salary. And like I said, I understand it. However, we now find ourselves in a situation whereby teams like Napoli have been interested in him, Juve have been interested in him, but the problem with Juve, apparently they didn't want to pay the fee. They wanted to offer something stupid like 15 million euros, which is ridiculous, really. So when it came to Napoli, apparently they were interested, but the player himself wanted big wages. He wanted his wages covered. So Napoli ended up pulling out of the deal. So right now, we've got a third Italian team who's also saying they're interested in Jadon Sancho, and that's AS Roma. Now, as I said in the beginning of the video, excuse me, the reports are saying that they've made a £20 million bid and they want him on a permanent deal. They don't want a loan with an option to buy, because apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano's tweet earlier on, he's indicating that United are willing to let Sancho go on loan with an option to buy. Now, to me, that's stupid because Sancho's only got 1 year left on his deal. So if we send him out on loan with an option to buy, the team is not going to activate the clause. They're just going to they're going to have him on loan all season. And then when the year's done, they're going to say, no, we're not buying him because his contract will be done. They'll just be able to sign him on a free transfer, you know. But I can understand United's perspective on that, because if we do agree for a team to take him on a season-long loan, that means we're most likely going to have the team cover his entire wages and we don't have to pay him. But I personally prefer this AS Roma bid. It's £20 million, like I said. It's a permanent deal. We get our money now. I think United can be smart about this. Seeing as Sancho is apparently saying that if they want to get rid of him, they have to pay him a large chunk of his wages. Some people are even reporting that we need to pay him off about £10 million in order for him to actually accept a pay cut elsewhere, for him to move and leave the club. So if you ask me, 20 million is a good deal. Take the 20 million pounds at Man United. Let's take the 20 million pounds from Roma, give him 10 million. Then we basically get a 10 million pound fee to sell. We basically sell him for 10 million, basically, because we take we get 20 million, we pay Sancho his 10 million, we keep telling him 10 million as his sell-on fee, I guess. But what we can also do we can be smart about this. We can add a sell-on clause when it goes to AS Roma. So what we can do is we can say, okay, cool, Roma, we'll take the £20 million, but we're going to add a sell-on clause for like, I don't know, 30% sell-on clause. That way, if Sancho leaves Roma in the next year or 2 years or however long it is before he leaves the club, we can end up getting some money. Because if somehow, I don't think it's going to happen, but if he goes to Roma and he actually does well and he rediscovers his form and he gets back to the best Sancho that we know, he could find himself leaving Roma and heading to Spain or Germany or back to England or wherever for a big fee. So if maybe, for example, in 2-3 years, Roma decide to sell Sancho for about 50-60 million euros because he's played well for them, if we put a 30% sell-on clause, that means we get 30% of whatever much they get to sell him for. So, like I said, Man United just need to be smart about this. Accept the £20 million deal, but just make sure that there's a sell-on clause in there. A hefty one. 30-35%, that would be good business on our side. We get to pay him his 10 million that he apparently wants. He gets to take a pay cut at Roma. He moves on, and we use the money we receive from him to fund the Baleba deal. Because don't get it twisted. We've got the Coke deal. We've got the, is it Soaking Skin? The new sponsor I saw being announced today. And now, if you add this £20 million for Sancho, that's good business if you ask me. On top of that, we could find ourselves in a situation whereby we maybe saw Rasmus Højlund as well for about 30-35 million, maybe even 40 million to AC Milan. That would be good. If you add Garnacho's fee on top of that, before you know it, you're raising enough money to get the Baleba deal over the line. Because apparently it's being reported that the Brighton want about anything between 100 and 120 million pounds, which is a lot of money if you ask me. But I just want Baleba at the club, guys. I think he's perfect for what we need in midfield. So, like I said, if you take 20 million for Sancho, get about 35 to 40 million pounds for Rasmus. Like we know AC Milan apparently are willing to pay the 40 million for him. So if you get 40 for Rasmus, 20 for Sancho, you're already on like 60 million. That's 60 million. Now, we're in talks with Chelsea for Garnacho, and apparently we want 50 million pounds, and we're not willing to go down. So if Chelsea do agree to end up paying 50 million, that's 50 for Garnacho, 40 for Rasmus, and 20 for Jadon Sancho. So 50 plus 40, that'll be 90, plus 20, that's 110 million pounds. That's easily the Baleba deal. Just like that. Plus, the reports are that with the new sponsorships we've got from Coke and Soaking, apparently I was seeing something, I don't know how true this is, but I saw some people saying that the Coke deal is worth 300 million pounds over a period of 3 years, which is ridiculous if you ask me, because that's a lot of money, because that's basically coming down to about 100 million pounds a season, which is a lot of money. Like I said, it's a lot more than what Adidas has been paying us. So if you add all these sponsorship deals together, and then you add the sale of Sancho, the sale of Rasmus, the sale of Garnacho, we've already gotten rid of Rashford, all of these fees coming together, we can easily pay the Baleba deal. And you never know, we could even go on to sign him and maybe a goalkeeper. I'm seeing us being linked with that Le Mans kid, the Belgian goalkeeper. I don't know much about him, but apparently he'd be available for somewhere between 12 and 15 million pounds, which if you ask me, that's a reasonable deal. It's not too expensive. I'm not going to lie and say, oh, he's the next Courtois, like I see people doing on Twitter. But if we are able to ship Rasmus off, Sancho off, Garnacho off, then I think we can sign Baleba. So for me, this is good news. I just hope Jadon Sancho agrees with to move to Roma, because trust me, no Man United fan wants you here, man. You don't want to be here. We don't want you here. Let's just cut our ties and say our goodbyes, you know. So hopefully Sancho says yes to Roma, and we can easily move on from this chapter. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you guys think about the video. I know some of the fans were actually hoping Sancho would stay. Maybe Amorim could get a tune out of him. Guys, that ship is sailed. Trust me, take it from me. I'm one of Sancho's biggest fans. It's not happening. He doesn't want to be here. We don't want him here, so it's just best to move on. But like I said, let me know what you guys think. Do you think the deal's going to happen? Do you think Sancho's going to turn Roma down? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.